FloridaGatorsports.com.
All right, welcome to our latest Hoopscast. We are going to be previewing the SEC basketball tournament up in Nashville. Quick look back at Florida's game with Kentucky, Kevin. It was pretty much the same game we've seen for the last couple of weeks. Gators dig themselves a big hole, fight back out of it, but down the stretch just aren't very good offensively.
Yeah, and I think there are certainly were a lot of factors in that game, and give Kentucky credit, they are defending much better than they have been since January, and they have great length and good big guys inside, but certainly Florida. I mean, there were some shaky situations where driving into the lane, out of control. Kenny Boynton getting the charge,
which I didn't. By the way, I thought was a classic textbook blocking foul because he slid over on him, but
not going to very hard.
You're not
to
getting
get
that call there
yeah.
anymore than you are the guy hanging on the rim. Those just aren't going to happen in Rupp.
But I just think Chandler missing the front of the 1-on-1, and then you have Walker with two wide open looks, and just little things that are happening with this team down the stretch where they just really struggle to score points when other teams turn it up on the defensive end. And meanwhile, on the other end, John Wall comes down and hits a big three-pointer and really allows Kentucky to regain the momentum. And Wall, like Boynton, at 29% three-point shooter, the difference is Wall kind of has the confidence to take it down the stretch and knows he's going to make it, and he seems to make big shots down the stretch. Yeah,
I got a survey about who's the player of the year, and I said, I'd vote for John Wall, but if you looked at his first half, I probably wouldn't vote for him. But that's what makes a great player. When the game's on the line, he gets it done, and they finish 18-0. I'm sure John Calipari is very upset that they won the SEC. Probably not happy with that, but give like you said, give Kentucky credit. This is what they've done all year. They seem to play at the level of who they're playing, but in the end, they pull it out.
Yeah, and when you have three freshmen on the court, you have focus issues. I thought what was a little disappointing from a Florida standpoint is early in the game you got Perry Stevenson, you got Ramon Harris, you got Mark Krebs in there, and Florida came out and did not exploit that at all or take advantage of it. They actually played better once Kentucky brought starters in the game, but early in the game they were trying to dump it down low to Tyus and Macklin. I think they had 5 turnovers in the first 5 minutes, and it's 3 games in a row. I mean, you could say that Kentucky and Vandy are decent teams, but you do it against Georgia too. This team, I think, is having some issues, coming out with that kind of focus early in games. And if they do it against Auburn in the SEC tournament, they'll be in big trouble.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same story as we saw last year. Maybe a little bit more wiggle room because I think if they go 1-1, there's still hope, whereas last year there wasn't hope. For the NCAA tournament, but certainly Florida winning 2 will get them in. I mean, they're still in the tournament right now, all the projections I see, but obviously a loss to Auburn, you're out.
Yeah, I would definitely think so, but I think a win against Auburn, combined with some of the things that have been happening, obviously Northern Iowa winning the Missouri bout, that's a one-bid league now. If Siena wins tonight, that'll be a one-bid league, and Gonzaga has another game tonight that'll be important. And as long as those things keep happening, Connecticut is off the bubble a little bit. I would say the only thing that hurt him over the weekend was probably Louisville beating Syracuse because Louisville now, makes this case as another at-large team from the Big East.
Yeah, and that's it. It's been a soft bubble the last couple of weeks, and it hasn't gotten that much more firm. And so Florida's actually in probably a lot better shape than they were a year ago. But they got to go out and win. They got to go to Nashville, and again, you're playing in an not unfriendly, but a foreign arena. I don't think have any of these guys. They have not played on it, have they?
No,
At what's now the Summit Center. Used to be the Gaylord Center.
Yeah.
So you got to just focus and get it done. I mean, it's that simple. Go out and win 2 games. After that, it's all gravy.
And don't forget, in the Auburn game, they went to the free throw line 40 times.
Yeah.
On their home court. I don't think they're getting to the free throw line that many times on a neutral floor. Just talked on the teleconference with Jeff Lebo about this, and he was mentioning about, he felt like in that game, they committed a lot of bad fouls. And they've had some issues with that this season, but he feels like they're cleaning it up a little bit. So, this is going to be a game where, Florida does have a size advantage inside. Yep. So, it's going to be attack the basket, try to get to the free throw line. And on the other end, try to take away Auburn's three-point shooting because, Tay Waller is a guy that's really heated up of late. Dwayne Reed is a decent perimeter shooter. And they're going to, what their game plan is, they're going to jack up threes and get long rebounds.
Well, and the thing is, for Florida, they don't defend the three-point line very well. And we've talked about this all year. They're not a very good shooting team. So their margin of error is so small, you've got to do all the little things. And a lot of that is when a team's shooting that many threes, you tend to get long rebounds. You've got to be go after those 50-50 balls. That's a big part of it.
I do think they defend the three-point line, though, okay. And I think that the reason why they haven't defended the three-point line well of late is because of the matchups and because of the fact that they've chosen
the guys inside.
They've chosen to collapse, particularly on Kentucky. They've chosen to collapse on guys like Cousins and Patrick Patterson, who I think they did a very good job on, obviously. And part, maybe Cousins wasn't in the flow because he wasn't starting or whatever. But I thought they did a really good job inside. I mean, the problem with Kentucky is, you got a guy like Darius Miller who's basically been their Dan Werner, and he shows up. He has 3 3-pointers. He scores 14 points, and Florida's Dan Werner, gets a goose egg. So it's kind of like you're trying to, other guys are stepping up for other teams, and Florida maybe needs some of those guys to step up.
Well, and there's no question. The last 2 games, Florida's kind of taken it. We're going to shut down Ogilvie, and then we're going to try to shut down the inside game of Kentucky. It's going to leave open threes. Auburn doesn't have that inside game, and that should work to their advantage. But, hey, look, it's Auburn's – this is their season, their Super Bowl, basically. They're playing on Thursday night, 7:30 up in Nashville, and we're looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing all the games because it's one of my favorite things, covering the SEC tournament. I don't know about how you feel about it, but I love covering that tournament.
Yeah, it is fun. I mean, it's usually a good time. It's usually in a fun environment and stuff, and we'll be right across the street from downtown Nashville in the team hotel, and I think it's always interesting. There's always kind of that surprise team that emerges. Like last year, Mississippi State was one of those teams
2 years
that
ago,
went
Georgia.
and for as poorly as Mississippi State's playing, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they made a run. I wouldn't be surprised if, like you said, a team like a Georgia made the run. I mean, even Alabama is playing a little bit better under Anthony Grant the last couple of games. So you never know what kind of team out there is going to kind of surprise.
And a lot of times it's just getting that early momentum and going with it. And in 2007, Florida had the momentum for the entire tournament, never trailed. But Mississippi State last year, you saw it happen for them. I just wonder how much momentum they're going to have after going playing at home, knowing what it meant, and being down 17-0 to Tennessee.
Yeah, and really laid an egg. And, Rick Stansbury also mentioned today on the teleconference that DeBost is questionable with a hip pointer, and he's a really important guy to what they do. So if he's if he's hobbled or if he has any kind of problems, that could really hurt them. And, of course, Florida beats Auburn, and then they get Mississippi State. And, you talk about 1 win. I think 2 wins would really, cement them and give them a good shot. But obviously they have to get by Auburn first. But, I think Mississippi State, if they do, is another decent matchup, especially if DeBost is hurting.
Yeah, my feeling is 1 win, and there's a reason to watch Sunday. 2 wins, and you're just finding out where they're going.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that's what it works out. No wins, and guess what? NIT first round here, Fairfield at Florida.
Maybe Coastal Carolina. You might get Cliff Ellis, the former ostrich farmer and country western singer at Auburn coach, will grace his presence as the conference champion that didn't win the tournament.
That's right.
You get those automatic bids.
That's right. We'll be joining you from Nashville. We'll be doing some Hoopscast up there after Florida's games. Hopefully there are multiple games and not just 1 game, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. Until we see you from Nashville, Kevin Brockway, Pat Dooley, the Gainesville Sun, so long from the Sunshine State.